Today, you will be participating in the fourth grade Reading and Writing Diagnostic Assessment Part 1. It is important that you have your paper copy of this assessment that looks like this, as well as a pencil to help you write your response. Once you have those tools, please get started. Teacher directions for narrative text. Read aloud the following directions to the students. Today you will complete a reading and writing assessments to help me learn about you. I want to get to know you as a reader and a writer. Today you will read a story, answer some questions, and write a narrative story. Take your time to read the selection and the EBSRs carefully. An EBSR is an evidence-based selected response. These items have a Part A and a Part B. You must answer both parts. You may reread and revisit the text throughout the assignment to help you. When you get the PCR, Prose Constructed Response, you may use scratch paper for planning. Then use the lined notebook paper to compose your story. As you compose your story, keep in mind all the things that good writers do. Follow the directions in the prompt. Be sure your story makes sense and is organized with the key components of a narrative, such as the characters, the setting, conflict, and resolution. In addition, strong writers include details to keep their readers engaged. When you think you are finished writing your story, reread your writing to check to make sure you use proper language and conventions. Take your time and show your best reading and writing. This assignment is not timed. You may begin working. Read an excerpt from the autobiography of Francisco Jimenez, The Circuit. As you read, pay close attention to the narrator's thoughts, words, and actions as you answer the questions to prepare to write a narrative story. The Circuit by Francisco Jimenez. The first day in a new school can be challenging, especially when English is your second language. But as this young boy finds, sometimes all it takes is for one person to accept and believe in you. Mr. Lima, the sixth grade teacher, greeted me and assigned me a desk. He then introduced me to the class. I was so nervous and scared at that moment when everyone's eyes were on me that I wish I were with Papa and Roberto. After taking roll, Mr. Lima gave the class their assignment for the first hour. The first thing we had to do this morning is to finish reading a story we began yesterday, he said enthusiastically. He walked up to me, handed me an English book, and asked me to read. We were on page 125, he said politely. When I heard this, I felt my blood rush to my head. I felt dizzy. Would you like me to read? He asked hesitantly. I opened the book to page 125. My mouth was dry. My eyes began to water. I could not begin. You can read later, Mr. Lima said understandably. During recess, I went into the restroom and opened my English book to page 125. I began to read in a low voice, pretending I was in class. There was many words I did not know. I closed the book and headed back to the classroom. Mr. Lima was sitting at his desk correcting papers. When I entered, he looked up at me and smiled. I felt better. I walked up to him and asked if he could help me with the new words. Gladly, he said. The rest of the month, I spent my lunch hours working on English with Mr. Lima, my best friend at school. On Friday, during lunch hour, Mr. Lima asked me to take a walk with him to the music room. Do you like music? He asked me as we entered the building. Yes, I like corridos, I answered. He then picked up a trumpet, blew on it, and handed it to me. The sound gave me goosebumps. I knew that sound. I had heard it in many corridos. How would you like to learn how to play it? He asked. He must have read my face because before I could answer, he added, I'll teach you how to play it during our lunch hours. That day, I could hardly wait to tell Papa and Mama the great news. As I got off the bus, my little brothers and sisters ran up to me. They were yelling and screaming. I thought they were happy to see me, but when I opened the door to our shack, I saw that everything we owned was neatly packed in cardboard boxes. Number 1, Part A. What is the meaning of challenging as it is used in the first sentence from the story? The first day in a new school can be challenging, especially when English is your second language. A. Interesting. B. Daring. C. Exciting. D. Demanding. Part B. Which phrase from the selection best supports the answer to Part A? A. First day. B. Young boy. C. One person. D. Accept. Question number 2, Part A. Which statement best describes how the narrator felt about reading at the beginning of the story? A. He enjoyed reading aloud to the class. B. He hoped Mr. Lima wouldn't call on him to read aloud. C. He only wanted to read on his own in private. Or D. He was determined to learn to read. Part B. Which paragraph in the passage best supports the answer to Part A? Paragraph 2, Paragraph 3, Paragraph 4, or Paragraph 5? Which paragraph is the passage best supports the answer to Part A? Number 3, Part A. Based on the description of the setting at the end of the story in paragraph 7, what conclusion can you draw? A. Everyone in the narrative's family is proud of him. B. Mr. Lima has visited the family. C. The narrator can speak English. D. The narrator's family is moving. Part B. Which detail from the passage best supports the answer to Part A? A. My little brother and sisters ran up to me. B. They were yelling and screaming. Letter C. When I opened the door to our shack. D. Everything we owned was neatly packed in cardboard boxes. Which detail from the passage best supports the answer to Part A? Number 4, Part A. Which of these is the best summary of the circuit? A young boy faces challenges at a new school but is supported by his teacher. A young boy learns that his family is moving after just starting at a new school. C. A young boy learns to play the trumpet. Or D. A young boy is nervous about starting a new school since English is his second language. Part B. Which sentence from the story helps support your answer to Part A? A. He then introduced me to the class. B. When I heard this, I felt my blood rush to my head. I felt dizzy. C. I spent my lunch hours working on English with Mr. Lima, my best friend. D. I saw everything we owned was neatly packed in cardboard boxes. 5. Part A. What is the meaning of the phrase, read my face, as used in paragraph 7? Do you like music, he asked. He asked me as we entered the building. Yes, I like corridos, I answered. He then picked up a trumpet, blew on it, and handed it to me. The sound gave me goosebumps. I knew that sound. I had heard it in many corridos. How would you like to learn how to play it? He asked. You must have read my face. Because before I could answer, he added, I'll teach you how to play it during our lunch hours. A. Ignored a look. B. Read my lips. C. Interpreted a look. D. Made a gesture. Part B. Which phrase from the selection helps you understand the meaning of read my face? Yes, I like corridos, I answered. How would you like to learn how to play it? C. Because before I could answer, he added. Or D. I'll teach you how to play it during our lunch hours. Number 6, Part A. How did the narrator feel about learning how to play the trumpet? A. Nervous. B. Scared. C. Pleased. Or D. Exited. Part B. Which text details best supports the answer to Part A? A. The first day in a new school can be challenging. B. Do you like music? C. The sound gave me goosebumps. And D. I knew that sound. Number 7, Part A. Which is a main theme of the story? A. Friends can help you overcome challenges. B. Good overcomes evil. C. There is never an end to learning. D. Family is supportive and loving. Which is a main theme of the story? Part B. Which sentence from the story best supports the answer to Part A? I was so nervous and scared at that moment. B. The rest of the month, I spent my lunch hours working on English with Mr. Lima, my best friend at school. C. How would you like to learn how to play it? He asked. D. I thought they were happy to see me. Question 8. Writing constructed response. In this portion of Francisco Jimenez's autobiography, The Circuit, the author developed the relationship with his teacher, Mr. Lima. Then the story ended with the narrator seeing his family belongings in packed cardboard boxes. Write an original story to continue where the passage ended. In your story, be sure to use what you learned about the narrator as you tell what happens to him next. To create a well-written story sequel, write a beginning that gets the reader into the world of the story and helps them understand what is going on. Use transitional words to help readers understand when events happened. Use details such as dialogue, descriptions to show exactly what happened in the story and how characters were thinking and feeling. Write an ending, ideally one that connects to what the story is really about. With your piece of paper, you're going to respond by writing a constructed response to the question. Please know you can always rewind. Once you are done, you may move on to part 2 on the web page.